I wanted to record this series for quite some time now, especially given the latest enterprise or personal development of AI in the last few quarters. Think of it, last year, thousands of companies bought AI. A lot of them bought the same AI, the same model from the same vendors. They had similar budgets, and then 6 months later, one company had automated thousands of hours, and then another company just switched the whole thing off. They used same tools, and then they got very different outcomes, actually completely the opposite outcome. Most people would assume that it's a problem of technology. They use better models, they would use better prompts, they had better infrastructure. See, after years in enterprise operations, I will tell you, it almost never is. These projects, they don't fail at the model. They fail long before the model is ever switched on. Let me show you exactly where they break. Here's how it actually plays out. If you've lived this, and I'm sure you have, you will recognize every single step. Now, picture that you are the chief operating officer. A competitor just announced something with AI, the board wants an answer, your CEO walks in and says, hey, we need to do something quick with AI. Find us a vendor. And 6 weeks later, you probably found one. 3 months after that, nobody in the company trusts it. Sales teams has gone back to ignoring it. Finance teams won't approve anything it produced. Legal teams blocks it from going near production. And then support team spends days and countless hours to correct its output. And then the blame starts moving in a circle. Blames the data team blames the business blames the AI. Eventually, no big meeting, no notification, the project just disappears. I'm 100% sure almost every person watching this has seen that step, has seen that movie. So the real question isn't, was the model good enough? Actually, the real question is, why does the same technology do that in one company? And at the same time, it can completely transform another company. That gap is the entire reason this channel exists. No prompts, no models, pure operations. So let's talk about what the analysts see. Gartner, for example, forecasts that more than 40% of agentic-AI projects will be cancelled by end of 2027. So this is in 18 months, more or less. It's a forecast, not a fact. So whether it's 35 or 45%, that isn't the point. The point is the reasons behind. The cost is escalating, there are unclear business values, inadequate risk controls. The point I'm trying to make is that not one of them is the model wasn't smart enough. Think of it. Every failure reason is operational. If I get one idea across in this whole series, it's this one. AI isn't a tool you install. It's operational capability you stand up. You stand it up like finance. You don't install it like Zoom and walk away. Capability has structure underneath it. People, rules, data, controls, an owner. This is super important. Skip that structure and you get the cascade. Build it and the same tool actually sticks. It's being used. It will be trusted. It will be extended instead of quietly shelved. And that structure is 5 layers deep. Here it is in one picture. Company A buys the tool first. Wires it. Points it at whatever data happens to exist. And then waits for it to pay off. What they get in the end is the cascade. Company B does it in a boring order. They decide who owns it. They pick the 2 or the 3 use cases that matter. They put basic governance and clean data. And then deploy. Absolutely the same tools, but different order. And the order is the whole game. Let me show you now what that boring order is made of. One definition first, before I move. By agent, I mean AI. AI that decides and acts on its own. Not a co-pilot that only suggests. And here the bar is much higher. So there are 5 layers. Layer 1, it's your governance. Think of governance as the management. If nobody can tell the AI what it is and isn't allowed to do, which use cases to ship, who owns the risk, how much autonomy it gets, that's not innovation. Let's be very honest. That's an unmanaged employee deciding on your behalf. Remember the cascades. Nobody could approve anything. That was this layer missing. Layer 2, it's your clean data. Imagine hiring the smartest analysts on earth and locking them in a room with 5 spreadsheets that all disagree. That's AI on poor enterprise data. It isn't stupid. It's just starving. One source of truth, or the agent reasons confidently over contradictions. Layer 3. This is your standardized processes. If you remember only one of the 5, make it this one. AI love consistency. Enterprises run on exceptions. If there are 47 different ways your company approves an invoice, an agent, I can guarantee you, cannot automate that. To just automate the chaos a bit faster. Standardize before you automate. Layer 4, controls. Today, AI makes decisions in milliseconds. So at the same time, it's going to make mistakes in milliseconds too. Thousands before a human looks up. Access, audit, rollback, monitoring. This is exactly what stops a fast mistake becoming a slow disaster. Remember, legal block in production and support correcting the output. That's this layer missing. And the last layer 5, this is the operating model. The one everyone forgets. Pilots don't scale, capabilities do. Funding, ownership, roadmap, lifecycle. How this lives and improves after the launch demo. Remember the projects that just disappeared. That's this. Skip any one layer and the agent acts straight through the gap. So which one are you missing? You can probably tell in about 60 seconds. I want you to answer this about your organization as I go. Who is responsible for AI in your company? If the honest answer is everyone, so really no one is responsible. And this is a governance problem. Who's your biggest customer? If 3 systems give you 3 answers, that's a data problem. And the agent won't tell you it's confused. It will just pick one, very confidently, and it didn't hallucinate. Actually, you did, years ago when you let that data fragment. How many ways are there to approve an invoice? If the real number is closer to 47 than to 1, that's a process problem. Who reviewed what the AI decided last week? If that question lands in silence, this is a controls problem. And who owns the agent now that it's live? If the answer is the project team, who've already moved on, this is an operating model problem. Whichever question made you wins, this is the layer to start with. Here's the reframe that pulls it all together. And please, do yourself a favor, do this in your head. Stop calling it an AI agent for a second. Call it what it functionally is. It's actually a digital employee. One that works at machine speed across thousands of decisions a day. Never sleeps, never asks a clarifying question. Now take that digital employee to your head of HR. Would you onboard a human with no manager, no training, no audit trail, no review? I strongly doubt it. HR would reject that requisition in 2 seconds. You would be describing a liability, not a fire. And yet, that's exactly how most companies deploy AI. Real access, real decisions. None of the things we consider non-negotiable for a junior hire on day one. So the 5 layers aren't a bureaucracy. They are just how you onboard a digital employee, the way you would onboard probably a human one, a manager, permissions, trainings, controls, and a review process. That's the whole framework in one analogy. I want to tell you a quick story. Years ago, I worked on a transformation where everyone was convinced that technology was the bottleneck. We spent months comparing platforms, features, vendor demos, and it kept not working. Eventually, we realized the real problem has nothing to do with any tool. Nobody could agree who owned the process the tool was supposed to run. 2 departments, each thought it was theirs. The moment we made the ownership explicit, one name, one decision, suddenly the technology got boring. It just started working. And this is the lesson I kept relearning. The bottleneck is almost never where the budget is pointed. It's an ownership problem, not a tooling problem, which is why AI doesn't fix broken operations. Point a fast tireless decision maker at a broken process, and you don't get a fixed process. You get the exact same mess running at machine speed, thousands of times a day. So here is your Monday morning move. It's not to buy a platform. Take the 5 questions I just asked. Answer them honestly about one real use case you're tempted to automate. And I'm sure you have a lot of use cases. Whichever one made you wins, this is your weakest layer. That's where you start. Not with the model. Please don't automate a process you couldn't yet write down in one consistent way. Fix the layers first. The tool gets boring after that. If you want to do that properly, not just in your head, I would recommend there is a free AI ready operations assessment in the description. It will turn these 5 layers into a readiness check. A simple maturity scale from ad hoc to AI ready. So you actually can see in black and white your weakest link before you spend a cent on tooling. And the one self-check that matters most, could you write down in one consistent way the process you want AI to run? If not, start here. So this is the whole thesis of this channel. The companies that win with AI over the next decade are not going to be those with the smartest models. Models are becoming a commodity. Everyone gets the same ones. The winners will be simply the organizations that were ready for them. Your AI maturity will never exceed your operational maturity. The best model is for sale. Best running operations are not. And don't let the word enterprise put you off. This scales down. A freelance project, personal project, wherever you hand real work to AI, it's the same 5 layers, just smaller. The scale is different. The scale may change, the order doesn't. And this is the map. 5 episodes, 1 layer each, starting with governance. And then we go deeper. Each layer earns its own deep dive, with more to come beyond the 5. And if you'd rather go deeper than the check, the full operator library, the playbooks, the handbooks, the courses is linked right below it. Subscribe and I'll see you in episode 2. And remember, don't build better AI, build better operations.